Hey everybody, how is it going? It is October 18th. This is a RambleCast. I'm Cody Toombs, and with me we have a Corbin Davenport.
Hello.
So, let's see. It's less of a news week than usual. Oh, weird. I just noticed my background is really wonky. I will fix that as I babble. Um yeah, some things happen, but it's not one of those big holy crap news weeks. Not the kind that makes you think, wow, big things are happening. No, this is more the ridiculous, wacky, wild news week where it leaves you just thinking, who's in charge of this? How much they getting paid, and why am I not getting paid way more than them?
Yeah, so Netflix has been trying a lot of stuff to squeeze more money out of their customers because they've kind of hit the maximum of people on Earth who are interested in Netflix. Um, so now the goal is just splitting them up into more revenue streams or increasing just how much money they make from them. So Netflix had its third quarter earnings report today, where they announced they're going to be raising prices and also changing one of their plans. So if you're not familiar with any of this, which I barely am at this point because it changes a lot, and I have not ever paid for Netflix. Uh, Netflix has a cheap plan, very cheap plan that has advertisements. They have a plan above that called Basic. That's just the normal Netflix that was $9.99 for a while, but then went up, and then they actually removed it from sale in the US and a couple other countries because they wanted you to either get the one with ads because they make money from ads, or you get one of the more premium ones. So that option was gone for a while, but it's now back. And then there is the standard plan that gives you, I believe, 4K and more screens to watch on. And then there's the premium that's like 4K and even more screens, and I think something else. But anyway, so yeah, so the big change here is that the basic plan is back in the US, so there's now a cheaper option if you want Netflix but are okay giving up 4K streaming, uh, if it means no ads.
By the way,
So
just sorry to interject, but standard only comes with 1080p. It's not until premium that you get 4K and HDR.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great stuff. Um, so yeah, so the ads plan I believe is, yeah, the basic plan with ads, which is where you watch Netflix and there's an occasional commercial, is $7 a month. The basic plan has returned, but it's now $12 a month. I believe that was $9.99 before it was removed. The standard plan is staying the same price at $15.49 per month, and the premium is now jumping to $23 a month. It was $20 a month before. That's some crazy pants. I don't know if you have more uh, interesting thoughts on this, but this is just kind of crazy to me. I know there's people who are just like my mom probably. That's just, this is on autopilot, some subscription somewhere, and it's not really something you think about. Uh,
Um,
but this is kind of a lot. Um, and like it's not just Netflix doing this; everyone's doing this. Like I think Hulu is also crazy expensive now. I'm on the Hulu plan with ads that's paid yearly, and that's also wrapped into like some discount on Disney Plus or something. So I'm still getting a pretty okay deal for however longer that lasts. But once that runs out, I'll have to reevaluate some things. Um, but yeah, like this is just, I I don't know. I don't really ever see anyone like praising Netflix that much anymore. I know they have a few shows people like that are still ongoing, and they are doing they seem to be doing a pretty good job of like grabbing movies that are up for distribution deals and dumping them on. Like a lot of the quote unquote Netflix original movies have been pretty decent. But this is good. This is getting pretty silly. Gonna be
Um, okay, so I'm gonna throw a couple of small curveballs in this. First off, looking at their sign up page, it's funny because standard with ads, standard and premium are listed on here. The basic still isn't.
Yeah, that they
Um,
just announced the pricing changes
right.
today. I don't know when they go into effect, or when they bring back the basic plan. But even before the basic plan went away completely, they were like doing the thing where they weren't like showing it on all of the, like, it was a little bit hidden um by the time they removed it.
Yeah, and I have a funny feeling that they want to keep it that way. Also, do you happen to know what the difference is between basic and standard?
Basic, I don't know if you get 1080p on basic actually.
Well, that
uh
would make sense actually, but
I think it's one device and like 1080p. Let me go. Okay, so this is Netflix's help article for pricing. I'll put this in the YouTube chat. I'm going to click my handy dandy Wayback Machine extension and click newest and go back like 3 months. So we'll see what it said. Let's go to April. I think it was still there in April. Yes, it was. Okay, so the basic with ads plan this is in March, has ads. You can watch it on one device and you watch it in HD, which is 720p,
mm-hmm.
that's crazy. The basic plan has no ads, still one device, still 720p, but you can also download. And then the standard is when you get 1080p and you get two devices at the same time. And then premium is 4K, HDR, four devices, all that fun stuff. Um,
Yeah.
which again, like 720, like what? Netflix. You're gonna make like I get. Like I know Hulu doesn't really still have 4K. Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure it does have some 4K content, and it doesn't. Netflix is the only one like doing weird pricing, not just between 1080p and 4K, but below 1080p.
Yeah. So
It's extremely silly. I get this in the context of most people. Well, not most. I don't. It might be most if you averaged out globally. I know a lot of people are mostly watching Netflix on your phone, and if you do that 720p, it's probably fine.
oh yeah.
But I'm just imagining like me from my American perspective. I've got my lovely Samsung 4K TV here, and if I gonna put my modern film from Netflix on here and watch it in 720p like it's a YouTube rip.
No,
Might as well just buy the DVD at that point. You're not missing.
I'm with you on this. I do question it. It seems weird to have raised the basic by $2 when you're still shuttling 720p. But yeah, it also kind of makes some amount of sense that's the deal. I don't know. Their premium price is getting too high. There's no question of that. But the weird thing is, as I look over the pricing breakdown, I don't. It's weird to me, but I also can't really find a way to specifically fault the jumps that it makes. I do kind of wonder, like, why in 2023, the year of our Lord, why on earth are you actually still shuffling 720p at all? Like, that should be a thing, but maybe not the thing that differentiates your price. Um, Part of me wonders, like, if that's the case, why not, like, could you offer an ads package that's like, I don't know, $5 a month, and it pushes 720p and just even more ads or something? Like, I don't know. There's some part of me that wonders, like, is there not a better strategy than this? It feels like there has to be.
Yeah, because like other streaming services, to my knowledge, they don't really factor in resolution into the pricing. Some of them will like only give you 4K if you pay up,
Yeah, I was gonna say
but
4K
that
still
is
costs
a
more.
yeah, that's still a difference. Like if Netflix is selling something in the year of our Lord 2023 that is 720p only and has ads, that should be free. What am I paying? What am I paying for at that point?
Well, technically, none of their packages are that, but um, it gets me because even the ads package is like, oh no, you get 1080. Like, that's cool.
No, the basic with ads plan is 720p.
There's no basic with ads. It's standard with ads.
Oh wait, I'm still looking. I'm sorry, I was looking at the archive one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this does say full HD.
Yeah, so everything is 1080 except for basic, presumably, which that's the thing. We don't I could be wrong, but I don't think they actually say anywhere in their announcement that basic is still the same basic it was
Because
before.
but
yeah,
I
let's
remember
assume
now
it is.
I remember now they raised the resolution on the ad plan. I believe, I don't know if it was after they took away basic, but it was like around that same time.
It would make sense that they just do them together.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, it feels really weird if they do bring back 720 as one of the resolutions, and they're pay gating it, especially for the fact that they're charging $2 more. Like, bring back the package and leave it 720, or bring it back, make it better, and charge $2 more. You could do one of those, but you can't bring it back, raise the price, and say, oh yeah, we're still gonna just leave it down at the piddly resolution no one uses anymore.
I went forward in the Wayback Machine to June of this year, which is when the ad plan and the basic plan coexisted briefly. And at that point, the ad plan was full HD and basic was still HD. Okay. So I guess that's something to look out for if that comes back. Again, it's so silly. And then on top of that, you also can't do like any of the you can't do any of the sharing stuff on the standard with ads or the standard plan. If you have like a kid who lives somewhere else or a friend or something you want to add, you can only do that on the premium, which so then the base cost is more, and then also that person will be paying separately for their ad. It's just very silly.
Yeah,
Netflix, you have to like really like Netflix at this point to keep paying this.
Yeah,
or just be like, the people who leave it on autopilot don't think about it.
Right. And I will take a moment not to defend. I want to be abundantly clear that I'm not defending anything as I say this, but I will take a moment to briefly sort of acknowledge I still kind of can see premium as long as a whole family is using it. Premium is not necessarily that egregious of a price point yet. I mean, it is. It definitely is. It's more than it should be, but all things considered, it's at least, it's like the cost of 2 movie tickets in a month. If you go to the movies twice in a month, then, or sorry, if 2 people go to the movies, let's say, you're paying about the same. And considering Netflix usually rolls out at least 1 fairly big budget movie per month, though even that's iffy. Like, they're not consistent with that. They do roll out some relatively big movies each month, but I wouldn't say all of them are really theater going movies.
Yeah, I would.
If you're getting that out of it, it's maybe still an okay price. But man, you really have to be getting something out of it. It's a little too pricey at this point.
especially if like Netflix is like really the only one you're paying for.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't know if that's the majority of people at this point. I feel like probably just with the way content has diversified in the past couple of years between different platforms, probably most people are they've got two or three going at the same time, I would imagine. Or they're just shuffling back and forth over the
Yeah,
months.
I that's the thing. I'm hearing I mean, we always talked about this. Like for years, people have said, well, the smart thing to do is to sign up to one, watch how much you're going to watch, and then leave it for a few months and then come back after you've drained whatever other service of the content you want to watch there. And then, you just keep rotating through. We always talked about that being a thing, but I've known a lot of people who just, they didn't do it. Like they would sign up for Netflix, they'd keep it signed up, and sometimes they would go for weeks without watching it, but then they wanted it there just in case they wanted to come back and watch something. So, but that was a thing that made sense when you were paying $10 a month, 12, 15 even. Now that they're up to $23 for the premium, and okay, you could still be on one of the lower tiers, that's fine, but now that the prices have gotten high enough, I kind of feel like people aren't doing that anymore. I certainly know a few people who said that they started rotating plans. Diablo's saying we need to create a bot to do it. Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised that that's not a thing. Which, come to think of it, that's another topic we should introduce. There is actually something news related that fits that. But
Yeah, I'm right now I'm paying for the Hulu with ads, which honestly is a lot of ads. I don't actually watch a lot of Hulu anymore, but I think my family still does. And also, I still get Disney Plus with no ads connected to that for $3 a month. So that's I'm okay with that general area, and then I still get HBO Max for free with my phone plan. So I've been using the HBO a lot. Trying to watch more of the shows that like everyone else has watched like 5 or 10 years ago. I'm like halfway through Veep, pretty good stuff.
just could not get into that. Admittedly, I think I stopped after the first episode. It just
Well,
seriously did not land with me.
I like the thick of it, and it's literally just the thick of it, but in America. So that's good. Yeah, well, Kirby said Disney's cracking down on password sharing. They announced that they're going to do that. There's still no plan or enforcement or anything like that. I don't even know if they did that. They just like pointed to their. I think they updated their terms of service that says don't do that, which again doesn't mean anything until they're enforcing it. So
Right, but it's a writing on
it'll
the wall
happen. Yeah,
situation.
yeah. It's gonna happen eventually, especially because Disney's still losing a shit ton of money because Bob Iger is not doing all that well.
Not good at making money with the largest, the largest media empire in the world.
That's crazy. He's just struggling so hard with one of his several mansions. I can't imagine.
Well, it doesn't help that they're still in a fight in Florida.
I think a great way for Disney to save money would to put me in charge of their theme parks, and I don't need to be paid hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I'll do it for less than that, and that can do it. Also, just get rid of the cruise ships. We don't need those. Those are so terrible for the environment, and now they're just like COVID farms. So I don't think we need those anymore. Just park them all somewhere, and you know what? Blow them up. That would be a cool movie. Just park all the Disney cruise ships somewhere. Let a nuke out on it. Give Oppenheimer a run for its money on practical effects. You're golden.
Okay, Tom from Succession.
Yeah.
Somehow I
So
feel
yeah,
like that reference is not landing with you the way it should. Anyway,
no, I liked it. So yeah, so that was the Netflix thing, and then the other kind of media thing this week was Best Buy is getting out of physical media, except games, to be clear. Um, so this was a rumor for a couple days, and then finally Variety got confirmation of it on the October 13th, which I think was Friday. Yeah, Friday. Um, Basically just that Best Buy is going to continue selling movies and TV shows on physical discs through the end of this year, and then sometime in next year they'll kind of just phase that out and use all that store space for something else. It's kind of big deal because not Best Buy, Blu-ray sales have been declining slowly for a while just because more people are using streaming services and it's just easier. Uh, and probably other stores will do this eventually. There was some reports that Walmart was thinking about it. I don't know if any of that is confirmed yet. And yeah, I mean, this is just really interesting because I would kind of think this is something you might double down on, or consumers might be more interested in as streaming services uh, continue going up in price, and also just removing stuff. Like Warner was doing this left and right with Max for a couple months, like a bunch of really highly rated movies and TV shows are just gone. Some of them are available for purchase elsewhere, some of them aren't. Disney just did that, and then they brought back like some of the movies for individual purchase on like digital platforms, but not any of the shows. Like like the like Willow show that just was from last year, that's gone. That's just wiped off the face of the earth. You cannot legally watch the Willow show. Um, a,
they actually
a
send
bunch.
FBI agents to your house if you watch it.
Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate. Um, so I don't know. I would think like that's something that you could double down as marketing for Blu-ray discs, but like I know like just from my perspective, I'm only really buying discs for like movies and shows that like I really like and will definitely watch a couple more times, because like I'm not, I'm not just gonna buy a disc for a movie I've never seen and it might turn out it sucks, and then I have this like movie in a closet somewhere. Then like, ah, that was a stinker. I paid like $30 for that.
So,
um,
yeah, back in the day, I used to love buying movies and building a collection. Now I deeply regret this because it's just stuff taking up wall space, and I hate changing discs or like looking through a collection trying to find something. So yeah, I'd rather have digital copies of everything anyway. Um,
yeah, I've for movies or shows that like aren't on a streaming service, I have like buying them digitally is usually pretty good. Now that the movie industry figured out how to just have a library that gets shared, and you can like generally access everything through, you know, anything I buy is on like most of the other apps. The support for TV shows I've noticed is a little bit wonky, but like honestly, it's still fine. I know occasionally there are things where those digitally purchased movies and shows can vanish. That's never happened to me. I've seen when it does happen. Like I saw there was some. I think it was on Mastodon. Someone pointed out that they had a movie or something on Amazon and it suddenly became no longer available, and Amazon gave them a refund, which sucks. But
I mean, that's
um,
actually kind of great that they got the refund, but
yeah, I don't know if that always happens, but yeah, like that's just what especially for TV shows where like TV shows on discs are really annoying, especially if it's like a show that has shorter episodes and you're first of all you're like just locked to your TV unless you have like unless you're a cool kid and you got one of those portable players that all have shit screens. But yeah, if it's like a TV show with like shorter episodes or something, you're like swapping discs more often, or you know, dealing with menus or whatever. That's not fun.
Yeah, the menu thing is, I would argue, the most regrettable series of decisions that were ever made when it comes to physical media. Especially because you already have to get up and physically change the disc. Like, the moment that you're getting up to change the disc, and then you have to sit down, wait for it to load, go through whatever animations, then present a menu to you. By the time you've gone through all that, like, it just makes anything you put up with on streaming services that much less painful.
Yeah, because like I bought the entire series of Star Trek Deep Space Nine on Vudu for like, I don't know, $60-$70 or something, which is like 7 seasons with a lot of episodes in each of those seasons, whatever. And I can just watch it on like whatever. I can watch on my TV. I can go watch on my tablet. But like I still, quote unquote, own it. It's not really owning whatever, but like that's a pretty good option for me. Again, there's still stuff I want to have on disc just to make it look as good as possible. But yeah, to that point about menus, I do wonder if Blu-rays would be in a slightly different position if we hadn't got if like menus hadn't got as bad as they were, or just the thing where they love putting unskippable stuff before you get to the menu. That was already getting crazy during the DVD days, and it just continued to the point where like streaming, like, oh great, I can just like click the movie and it starts. This is better.
Yeah. Would we be in the same place? I think so.
I think I think for the most part it'd be the same, but there'd be maybe a little bit of a percentage difference in sales, I think, if it was less annoying to deal with.
So I think back to when Blu-ray first happened. I was living in Las Vegas at the time. I had a Fry's. It was just a few miles from me. It was pretty close. And this is when I guess Netflix had already been around for a while, but they were still doing the whole like mail movies to you kind of thing. And I think like would I at the time have wanted to buy movies, which I did, like I was buying movies at that time, or would I rather stream them? And living in Vegas, I had really good internet for the time. I think even then I would have just taken streaming. And since then, internet connections have only gotten better, faster, more widespread. The quality of the movies has gotten better, faster, more widespread. The selection has maybe had some complications because you might have to go to different streaming services, but the thing I come back to is with movies, you had to physically go somewhere, or you had to wait for something to be mailed to you. That already took the spontaneity out of stuff. You'd have to pick from a catalog. You couldn't just casually say, what am I in the mood for literally this minute? I can't tell you the number of times that I go looking through movies that I own physically and be like, man, I just don't feel like anything I have here, but I'm not going to leave my house right now so I could go get something different. Or more often what was the case, it'd be like, it's 11 p.m. Nothing's open except Walmart. And, screw Walmart. That's the thing, like, physical media kind of lost this war because nobody wants to go through the process of going to physically get stuff. Not to say there isn't still reasons for physical media, particularly like having like different like having director commentary. That's a thing I used to actually watch with some things, or having the extras. Like that was a reason for having DVDs and Blu-rays. But if you're just in it for watching the movies, nah. It's so much better just to watch it from a streaming service.
Yeah, and this ties back into kind of the thing with games too, where increasingly like physical games are being looked at as like collectors items. Like this is something you buy because like you already like this game, or like you like really want this game, so you're gonna buy it on physical media where you got like a cool box to look at and maybe other stuff. And it seems like movies are probably going in the same direction, except I don't know if they'll be as good at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like for me, like again, I don't buy that much on Blu-ray, but it's mostly like movies and shows I really like, and I want to uh like the main shows I have on Blu-ray that I bought kind of recently was like Doctor Who, because that keeps like jumping between streaming services, and also just you know I just like to have that, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. And also Westworld, because I like Westworld. I want to look at it in pristine, 4K, terrible HDR. And also, I don't even think you can like watch it anywhere, because it got pulled from Max, and then it got put on one of the like free streaming things. So I don't actually know if you can watch it normally anywhere anymore. I'm not sure.
I know it was put on at least one. I don't remember who, but I assume it's still there. Just because why wouldn't it be? But yeah.
Okay, you can still. It looks like it's still on like purchase. I searched it on YouTube and it's letting me. It's having a buy button for it on like Google TV and stuff. So
Yeah, well,
that's good. That's
good. Something, I guess.
Yeah.
So through all of this, I think it's worth pointing out that as Best Buy is aiming to take movies out of its stores, Netflix has been apparently rumored that they might open physical stores.
Oh wait, before we move on, I forgot one very silly point in all of this, which is it's very possible that vinyl discs will outlive Blu-ray.
Oh no, I don't think it's possible. I think it's going to happen.
I know, because that's like one thing I have like slowly noticed is when there is a Target store I go to most of the time, and it's like one of the smaller ones, so it never had a big like movies and TV sections to begin with. But I have noticed that section is like slowly being morphed into an extension of the books section, which is also kind of funny. And like vinyl stuff, like the vinyl stuff is now like a complete row, which is very funny because like I still do not care about vinyl whatsoever. So it's fascinating to me that is. I think the growing has like mostly stopped at this point, but still it's been like on an upward trend for the past like 10 years, which is very funny. Like physical media, really weird the past decade.
So I have this picture I took from a Walmart a while back. Actually, do I have the what was the date of this? Back in April. Wow, really? That recent? Anyway, I just happened to be walking through a Walmart and I noticed that there was vinyl records sitting on the top row in this one section in electronics. And the funny thing that anyone watching stream, you can see this in kind of the background further up at the top of the image. You can see a hanger over a different row, and it also says vinyl music. So I'm seeing like the overflow section, and there are vinyls in here for Britney Spears' first album, Billie Eilish, a bunch of others, no doubt. Not sure which album that was. Lauryn Hill, like the list goes on. There's a bunch of them in here. And the mere fact that Walmart is carrying this, like we're back to vinyl as a thing, is baffling to me.
Yeah, especially because like vinyl is in the same place of like cassette tapes, where I'm waiting for cassette tapes to come back. We gotta give another 10 years, but
honestly, I don't know why they haven't. Here's the thing: cassette tapes are actually kind of good in their own weird little way.
Yeah, because you could make your own. Like that was fun.
You could make your own. They were durable-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as the tape didn't actually get caught in something and yanked out, or get tied up in the player. But yeah, cassettes at least were kind of flexible in their usage. They had some qualities to them. Granted, a USB key is 1,000 times better, but hey, I get the point.
Yeah, but like vinyl's in kind of that same spot where there's like a handful of factories left in the world who are making these, and like no one's really built any new ones as far as I know. Um, I think the vinyl players are mostly okay. I know there's like a lot of like cheap shitty ones, but I think there's still some like more premium like player heads and stuff that actually sound fine. Uh, Whereas with cassettes, like you just no one has manufactured like the good cassette players for like 15 or 20 years at this point. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are left are like, the mono garbage shit, like not any of the HD stuff. So that's been kind of interesting where like there's like this weird rise, but it's all just paused at like sort of the like entry level thing that the media became in its last days as like, you know, its timeline. It's
Yeah,
very weird. Um,
and I I brought this up a few times in the past. It almost eggs me on that there are people out there who still love to say, but vinyl sounds better. No, it doesn't. No, it actually doesn't. People think that it sounds more real. People have said all these odd things about it. And a lot of people say that it literally just sounds better. That somehow it has a fuller tonal range or things like that. There was a study done. It's now been like 15 years or something since this happened. Maybe longer. I'm not sure anymore. It was a while back, but they took different recording qualities of digital music and played them against records and did this as a blind test against tons and tons of people and found most people could not tell the difference between a record and I want to say it was like I forget if it was 96 or 128 uh, kilobits per second, but they couldn't tell the difference between what was effectively like the low grade MP3s people would listen to. Not only that, but they also tested which one was more pleasing or like what people actually thought sounded better. And part of their test was to take uh, what was effectively a blank record. They recorded a blank record to get the sound of like the scratching and whatever that you get out of a record. And they played that, or they basically remixed a MP3 to have those sounds. And they asked people to identify like what sounded better, what was this, what was that. All the people who came in and previously had said, "Oh, records sound better," like in their pre-interviews, every single one of them loved the MP3s that had been remixed with the record sounds, proving that they didn't actually care about the actual quality of the record. They just wanted to hear something that they thought was a record.
right. It's like more fun. Or I don't know what the right term for that, but it's like it's just different. It's like fun. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It it's kind of the same thing you get when people talk about headphones, and there's like headphones that are like really bassy, or headphones that are like studio headphones or whatever, and you get people who like prefer like one kind of like mixing on audio equipment, even if it's not like exactly how it's supposed to sound. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, it's just a fun thing, fun way to listen to music. Maybe if I had, again, I don't, I have no affinity towards vinyl whatsoever, but people, other people seem to like that. That's cool. Good
Yeah.
for you guys. I wish, I wish I could have my Blu-ray movies in stores and you could have your vinyl in stores, but it seems like one of us is going to come out the winner there, and it's not me.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll be winning in 20 years when we get cassettes in Best Buy.
You
Just
know
kidding.
what? Can we just
Best
bring
Buy
back
won't be around.
8 tracks?
I don't
Bring
think I've ever seen or used an 8-track player. I'm pretty sure. I had some cassette players growing up, and my first car had a cassette player that I don't think ever played a cassette in. I only ever had the like little headphone adapter thing.
Okay,
But
so I know the joke is constantly that I'm old, but let me give context here. I have in my life only ever physically seen, not heard, not used, just seen an 8-track player one time. I've seen them in movies and TV shows a few times, but I've never actually seen a physical 8-track player outside of one time when somebody had a old beater car that they were showing off kind of for giggles. Like that somehow it came into their possession. They were just laughing about, look how old it is. It even has an 8-track player.
mhm.
Even when I was a kid, cassette players were standard in cars. So, that's the thing. 8-tracks are really ancient. That being said, I have a few times used a cassette player in a car, but for the most part, even when I was in my early teens, by then you already had like CD players with the cassette adapter. Like those were commonplace. It was actually weird how often people had those in their cars. So yeah, I mean, these were technologies that made sense in their time, but they kind of went the way of the dodo a long time ago. So yeah, anyway, to reround this topic though, the whole thing about Netflix is going to open their own physical stores. I'm not going to dive into the actual topic because frankly, we just finished making fun of physical media. Why even bother with this? Like Netflix is probably wasting
some
money.
physical media, Cody. I still want my Blu-rays as an option when I buy them twice a year. I
Yeah.
think
Well,
I know why this is going away.
okay, to be fair though, you are describing like a thing you want to collect as opposed to how most people
Sure.
want to do it. I do know there are still people like the whole process of going to like a red box and grabbing a movie there and returning it, whatever. That's fine. I think that's even a little bit odd, but sure.
You get it from the red box. You go home, you rip it, and you bring it back. That's the way of
The way God
exactly.
intended
Yeah, exactly what my family did all the time.
it. It's what everybody did.
I know, it was great.
Actually, oh, do I go down this story? So when I was a kid,
Cody illegal time.
oh yeah, when I was a kid, my mom and I used to watch. We kind of had this thing where we'd watch 3 movies every weekend. We'd go on like Friday afternoon, or maybe it was Saturday early day or something. We'd go to a video rental place, pick out 3 movies, and I think it was we'd watch 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday or something like that, and then return them. And the video rental place had this like weekend thing where you just get stuff for the whole weekend. You didn't have to return it the next day. Well, the video rental place also had this box that was basically like they advertised it as a thing that would improve the quality of your videos. But in reality, what it actually did, it would basically disable or unscramble their copy protection. And my mom's boss had a dual VHS machine. So you could put in the original in one side, pipe it out through this box into the TV, and the other side piped into the other cassette slot. And so yeah, we just recorded and duped tons of movies. We didn't even rewatch a lot of them, but yeah, we duped so many movies. It was a thing. And yay, statute of limitations. I can admit this without being in trouble. But yeah. And now I have no idea what's ever happened to any of those cassettes. I think they're all gone now. But this did lead to one of my favorite movie memories, though. A copy of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation that had been watched so many times, and it sat near enough to a fireplace that it had ever so slightly warped, that the first roughly 10 minutes of the movie kind of sounds warbly and underwater. I'll tell you, every time I've rewatched the movie since like going to digital, I now miss the sound of underwater National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
You are the person who's like, yeah, I want vinyl sounds in my MP3s. Yeah.
Ass.
It's just not the same.
You dick. But a little bit, yeah. I mean, it is the only movie where I would take that. Weirdly, it makes the movie slightly better.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did almost buy a VHS player at a thrift store the other day when I was getting this nice lamp I now have. But I was like, man, this VHS player is only $10 and it can use the composite port on my TV that has never been used. That's cool. But also, this store has no VHS tapes, and I don't know the last time I've seen a VHS. Right. Like, even the thrift stores are like, yeah, I don't know about this, guys.
Yeah, that's totally yard sale territory.
And it sucks because there's like several Goodwills around me, but none of them are the ones that like carry that kind of stuff. They're all just like closed.
At this point, you might need to start looking to antique shops.
Yeah. It's gonna be a bad day when I walk into an antique store and see, oh, I use that phone. It's like a couple of years away.
Oh, that day's coming. That day's definitely coming. Though, to be fair, a lot of the phones that could make it into that would at this stage won't work with anything anymore. Like, their network bands have been disabled or reallocated. But I gotta say, too, if the reason you wanted to get that VHS player wasn't to make a Tech Tales episode, or rather, if you don't make a Tech Tales episode after getting a VHS player, I would
about just VHS.
Yeah,
maybe
that actually should be a Tech Tales.
I mean, I definitely have a couple of the like failed media formats in my list to get to.
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc, HD DVD, of course. You know, gotta hit that.
Actually, I feel like 8-track might even be a good one. But
yeah, some point, yeah. So if I like start coming across VHS tapes, maybe after that point I'll get a player. But
anyway, I know that there are still some floating around here. If worse comes to worse, I could send some to you.
I'm sure I can go on eBay, but then it's like, all right, this is getting kind of silly. I'm just getting a giant box in the mail that has like 3 movies in it.
Actually, they're not going to be that big of boxes.
Yeah, I know they're not that big. They're like, yeah, I know the VHS.
That said, honestly, what you should probably do is just go on Facebook Marketplace for local and just say, hey, I'm looking for some VHS tapes.
Give me your worst movies.
On the plus side, you could watch Aliens in its original ugly quality instead of the upgraded, remastered, and still ugly quality.
Perfect.
Sorry, but anyone who saw Alien and Aliens, you know, it was not the prettiest movie.
I don't think I've seen Aliens. I've seen Alien, but
Diablo, I have, no joke, I have a Betamax player. I don't know where it's at anymore, but there is one somewhere around this house. Anyway, I keep trying to come back to this, but just to point it out, and it's been on screen for like 10 minutes now. Netflix's whole thing about going and opening physical stores, the Blockbuster Twitter account has responded, saying, quote unquote, "Oh boy, should we tell Netflix how this ends?" I have to give credit, and not only that, but if anyone searches for this, I'm now just showing the Google results page. Pretty much everyone is not responding to Netflix opening physical stores. They're responding to Blockbuster getting to dunk on them. or they themselves are mocking Netflix.
Yeah, I'm sure that in turn, social media person hopefully got some brownie points for that.
Oh yeah.
Because it seemed like that popped off. But yeah, the Netflix stores, like it kind of, again, like I think they only showed like a little bit of like concept art for what they want to do. It seemed like it was mostly just like Netflix merch rather than anything, like you're not going there to buy the movies and TV shows necessarily, but maybe like I know Netflix does release some of its stuff on physical media, but it's usually like years after it's on their service.
Yeah.
And they also said like maybe some like like game type stuff in there, which I guess would make it a little bit closer to like uh kind a little bit like when Disney tried to do Disney Quest, where they did like sort of like mini indoor amusement type stuff. Kind of seems to be what they're going for a little bit. I don't know. Again, this is not what I would necessarily do if I was a company super concerned with profit margins, but I'm just built different, I guess. Maybe they're hoping that there'll be that property collapse is coming soon, and they can get some abandoned office buildings at a good price. I don't know.
Well, hey, with everyone trying to do work from home, there's apparently lots of offices closing down.
Not enough.
Yeah, no kidding. But according to Slash Films or slashfilm.com, I have no idea if they know what the hell they're talking about, but they're describing that, yeah, apparently the stores are, as they put it, going to have theme park-esque elements, which, yeah, sounds kind of like the basic principle being that they'd have things that are additive to the shows or movies, not just come in and rent stuff, but you could come and see like a live performance of something, or you could see, I guess, like, I'm assuming maybe haunted house style things or whatever. And obviously, like you mentioned, merch and things like that. Whatever it ends up being, like you said, and I couldn't agree more. I don't see this being profitable. I don't think it's going to pan out. It's interesting that they want to try it, but why?
I see. What I think would be interesting is if Netflix bought like if Netflix bought some like old closed down like AMC locations and then renovated most of the theaters in those buildings, and then maybe turn the rest of the space into like big merch shop or whatever else they want, but like the theater portion can just like perpetually show movies and TV episodes that Netflix owns. That'd be kind of cool. Again, I don't know what the licensing for that looks like. I'm mostly thinking like it would just be the stuff that they completely own.
Yeah.
But like that'd be cool. That would have a reason to exist. Because yeah, sure, if Netflix, AMC down the street is like, yeah, we're showing 3 episodes of Star Trek in a row down here. You want to have a fun time? Sure.
So this actually comes close to an idea that I had back in, well, yeah, it was back in 2020. Though I think I might have suggested it even before that. But way back when there was this rumor that Amazon was looking at buying, I thought it was AMC, maybe it was somebody else. And there was a rumor that another movie studio or another major company, a production company, wanted to buy some other chain. I don't remember which was which, but whoever it was, the thing I remember saying is that's actually kind of a great idea to save movies, like to save theaters, because so many of them cannot make money because the margins on movies are so thin. They basically make almost nothing per showing. they're trying to make money on concessions, but they're overpriced, and the quality of most of the concessions isn't great. The few companies that have figured out how to do this were the ones that served like drinks and meals and things like that, but even a lot of them were struggling because, well, you have to be able to do this at fairly large scale, and to do a good experience you need to make it a little bit more boutique. So yeah, finding those balances was really nearly impossible. But I kind of have always had this logic like, hey, if you're, let's just use Disney because that's kind of the easiest example of this. If you're Disney and you're releasing a couple Disney movies, or like a few Disney movies per year, a few Marvel movies per year, whatever other franchises they own, like the list somehow keeps getting longer. The thing is, you can sell these kind of on the experience of go to the theater where they actually have like more of an experience. It's not just putting up cardboard cutouts like they used to. You could actually have like full experiences designed for the theaters where, you know, it could be like, okay, I immediately run out of good examples of this, but let's just say any Halloween like horror movie, which immediately takes us right back out of the Disney franchises, but let's say,
Sure, they've got something.
yeah, but for the movie that just came out, Saw X. I know we're immediately going very far from Disney here, but how great would it be to be going into that movie, or maybe coming out of that movie, and have like an actual haunted house, like go through a few rooms of setup stuff that's linked to the movie that either prepares you to go see it, or that kind of gives you a little bit more of that supposed scare coming out of it. I say supposed because I cannot get scared at these movies. Does not matter what I do, but they do not affect me like that. But you know, it'd still be kind of cool to come walking out and see something in 3D, like not just 3D, but like physical right there that you can like look at, you could get close to, and it's meant to give you a little bit more connection with the movie. People would absolutely pay for that, and they would pay, I'm gonna say, a little extra. You'd be able to push merch a lot more effectively this way.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, this is like Disney's bread and butter at their theme parks.
Yeah.
Is all basically everywhere in their parks they have a, you know, you go on Pirates of the Caribbean, right? And then immediately after you off the ride, you are dumped into a giant themed store that looks like a building that would be in the movies. You know, like old, like, you know, and it's just completely filled with Pirates of the Caribbean merch and like other like vaguely related stuff, like maybe like some plushes of like other Disney characters in pirate gear or something. They could definitely do something like that. That might be cool. Hopefully in a way that's not just like theaters currently, but with more consumerism.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more of a themed experience would be kind of cool. Again, if they actually wanted to go into their library of older movies more often and re-release them to put in those theaters, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the other reason for owning theaters, because you have a good excuse to do like big rewatch events or things like that.
Yeah.
Like obviously Disney would love this because they could do a Star Wars Day literally on Star Wars Day. Yeah, you could easily do, that's what, May 4th? Yeah. Yeah, just every May 4th have a big event, like come down and watch all the Star Wars movies. And that would just be a big thing Disney could really play up. Obviously, you know, Star Trek movies could easily pull the same sort of thing. A lot of different franchises have that sort of love. Oh God, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Carson brought up like MCU, like yeah, that'd be so easy.
Oh yeah.
You could literally make that. You could make the building look like out of like Shield headquarters or something for a couple of days. It'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know Disney has experimented with this a little bit. I don't think they've rolled it out in any of their parks, but I know they were playing around with the idea of like a building and ride that was like mostly screens and like very easy to move uh, physical sets to the point where like they could swap out basically the entire ride like every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, that'd be kind of cool. You'd probably charge more money for something like that. That sounds cooler than Netflix merch building, where
Yeah.
maybe there's a silly game or something. I don't know.
Though, that being said, part of me just imagines how much merch could you have sold for Stranger Things out of a Netflix store? It
I
sucks to say, but it's
mean,
true. Just like, I know it's not a Netflix franchise, but imagine how much merch you could have sold for Game of Thrones while that was hot.
you know, what'd be really sad is the merch store for Peacock, and it's just like entirely the most like sad The Office stuff you've ever seen.
Okay, you say that, but imagine if they actually
I
had
mean,
paper products with
yeah,
what was the name of the company?
the Dunder Mifflin.
Dunder
Yeah.
Mifflin, thank you. Yeah, imagine paper products that actually just that's what they have is a little logo or just something in the bottom. People would go crazy for that.
I mean, they like that. You know, that kind of merch is definitely a thing at like retail stores. Like I see that kind of stuff all the time. But yeah, like something like that might be cool. Yeah, David said just need to build a giant sphere screens like Vegas. Yeah, everyone watches like a different corner of the sphere.
uh
And and you'd also need headphones so you can actually like hear your screen.
Mhm.
And then if you're not wearing the headphones, you're just walking. It's like one of those like silent concerts where the room's just completely dead silent, but everyone's like having a great time.
If only they could have done that for the Taylor Swift Eras tour movie that all the theaters hated.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I had the funniest experience where over the weekend I saw Moana in theaters because Disney was running like 10 of their movies again this year for
Did they
their like
stick you next to the
100.
Taylor Swift room?
Cody, almost the entire rest of the building was playing Taylor Swift. Like
Oh no.
there's like 10 other, you know, there's like 15 other like theater rooms in that theater I went to, and they were like almost all Taylor Swift. I didn't actually hear like really any of it in the movie, probably because Moana is like also kind of loud. They have a lot of like, you know, songs in it. But like every time like I walked out in the hallway to like use the bathroom real quick, and all the rooms next to me were just like it was very funny. It was funny because I had no idea that was happening, and then I show up to the movie theater. It's like, oh wow, everyone's a lot of people here. It's like, oh, everyone here is here to see Taylor Swift except me. There was like 3 other people there to see Moana. And you know what? I had a great time. Great movie.
Yeah, admittedly, I would have forgotten about it, but man, I'll tell you, if this is one of those this would have been one of those weekends where if someone was going to the theater, I probably would have made a point of saying, "Oh no, don't. Just wait. Trust me. You are not going to want to go to the theater anywhere this weekend." Because did we lose Corbin? But yeah, the Taylor Swift. Huh, we did. All right. He'll probably be back in a minute. But the Taylor Swift craziness was off the charts. They were charging way more for tickets, and holy crap, apparently they just could not stop selling out of times, which is insanity for a concert movie. So yeah, I don't know, but all I can say is I wish I could have some sort of that income that's going to roll off that movie, because they made ridiculous numbers. Carson, you didn't even know there was a Taylor Swift movie releasing until this week? Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, I know that this is a weird point to make, but it feels weird calling it a Taylor Swift movie. It's not even a movie. Just, they literally filmed a concert. And they're playing the concert in theaters. Like, it feels weird calling it a movie. Huh. Weird. Is Jitsi gonna be difficult? Let's try refreshing real quick, see if maybe... Okay.
Oh, okay.
I refreshed mine too. I don't know if maybe that caused or that helped. Who knows?
I refreshed mine like twice. It was showing you as like no signal, but yeah, I don't know.
And
Okay,
for
well,
some reason,
anyway.
it just wonked out my camera again. Or OBS got goofed on my camera, so I'm the wrong aspect ratio. Or not aspect ratio, but size. Anyway. So, yeah. Google Meet greater than Jitsi. I might have to go back to trying Google Meet again. It wasn't a great solution in the past, but it might be... we might have to go back to it. Or maybe it'll be just worth trying again. I don't know.
Yeah.
So...
do you want to talk about the pencil next?
Yeah, okay. We could do that.
I might need to leave after pencil. We'll see.
Well, okay. Question. Would you rather do the Xbox starter thing first?
Sure. That's like 3 minutes.
Okay. I'm just thinking, I know nothing about that one, so that one might be the more logical one.
Yeah. So, Microsoft announced a new Xbox starter bundle, they call it. This seems like basically their like holiday Xbox deal for this year, right? All the console makers do this every year. They like will make some kind of a bundle or discount or something to get you to buy their console over the holiday season. And I think this is what we're getting this year. I don't really know if there's going to be something else. But basically, this bundle is an Xbox Series S, 512 gigs. So this is not the 1 terabyte Series S that was just released that cost $350. This is the normal Series S. And it comes with 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. And that's the bundle. So it's the same price as the Xbox Series S. So it's not like more, but also I will say I am kind of disappointed in this because I feel like there are much better ways for them to try to sell an Xbox. Like I was definitely expecting like them to go really hard with like a Starfield bundle. Like you get a Series S and maybe Starfield for... I don't know if they're going to do the $70 game with the console for free on the console that's probably already subsidized by game sales, but like maybe, $20 or $30 more than a Series S on its own. I'm not sure. Yeah, Carson says, so basically it's just a Series S with 3 months of Game Pass. Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. In the same price. So like,
Yeah, they're just basically discounting a Game Pass trial.
Yeah, which like again, I would have expected them to go harder with like a Starfield bundle, especially because Starfield appears to be very well optimized for Series S. That's been a problem with some other games, but Starfield, with the extra year or whatever they spent polishing that game, like it came out really great on Series S. That seems like something you would do, but I guess not. And even with this, like, if they're gonna do a Game Pass Ultimate, it needs to be like 4 or 6 months. Like 6 months kind of feels like maybe minimum if it's something they're like pointing out like this. Again, this is quote unquote free compared to like the normal price for this Series S, so I can't like complain all that much, but I don't know. It's kind of annoying. This seems like a missed opportunity to me, especially because like really if you just sort of like breathe in Microsoft's direction, you can usually get like a month of Game Pass Ultimate for free if you've never had it before.
Yeah. Which I was just about to ask, is this actually a trial or is it just an automatic credit? I'm assuming that this is a credit you actually get because they're making it such a big deal as being
Yeah,
part of the bundle.
I
But
I I would assume so. At the bottom, it says the subscription continues automatically until canceled. It doesn't say. I mean, don't imagine they would sell this and it's like, oops, you already tried Game Pass once 2 years ago. Get out of here. That'd be weird and false advertising. But
well,
um,
not like we haven't seen other things do that before, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah, nothing about new accounts or anything like that. So yeah, this is very
Like,
likely just an actual credit that you get, um, which still though, like you said, and well, we both said, it's this is basically a trial, effectively.
yeah,
Like it's
it's and like honestly, again, like this is a good. It's definitely the best, like I think, out of box experience you could get. Like I could imagine it is very cool to get this for like Christmas or whatever, and you just instantly have like a shit ton of games to play. That's pretty cool, and I'm sure it will convert a lot of people to subscriptions, which is what Microsoft cares about the most. But again, uh, really think it should be at least 4 or 6 months. Um, but again, same price, and also the $350 Series S is still around. Um, Carson said, or even Forza Motorsport. Yeah, Forza might be a good bundle too. Um, you know, feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity here, especially when Sony is. I think they're gonna have their PS5 update ready by this holiday season, the new one.
Are they? I thought that was a next year thing for sure.
Is it? I don't remember. Let me see.
Like I'm sure they'll have a bundle or something, but I heard 2024 for the PS5 Pro.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the
Or
Pro. I'm talking about the slim,
Slim?
thing that they announced.
Yeah, I I don't know. Oh, maybe that
It
was going to be
says it
this year.
says starting in November. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah,
come
I
on,
forgot they were doing a
Microsoft.
Slim immediately before. Well, not immediate, but
Yeah.
one year
This
before releasing a Pro. That's dickish.
well, the Pro is gonna probably be far more expensive than this.
Well, sure,
So
but
this is more of like it's like a slim, easier manufacturing.
yeah.
Because
Well,
technically they have like one, factory line now. You just at the end of it, you decide, do we put in the disk drive or not?
yeah. Um,
Carson said Pro model wasn't confirmed. Yeah, they have not.
it
Said
hasn't
anything
been
about a
officially
Pro.
announced, but
Yeah,
every leak is pointing to it being a like mid to late, almost certainly going to be late 2024 release.
yeah.
Okay, so
Diablo said, I would rather it be the new 1 terabyte Series S, price like the 512. Yeah, that also would have been really good. That would have been solid.
yeah, so just for context, Game Pass Ultimate is $17 a month, technically $16.99 if you want to get nitpicky. So over 3 months, that adds up to basically $51.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, granted, I don't know if works if you've done it before, but Microsoft did bring back the 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate for $1. So, that does tweak it a little bit. But again,
well, to be
this is
fair,
presumably a credit.
the smart thing to do in that case would be you get this Xbox starter bundle. You plug in your Series S, do the 1 month for $1, and then you activate your 3 month membership after that. Hopefully people are aware enough and clever enough to do that. And even for those that aren't, well, it is what it is. Anyway, technically, you're still getting. That's what this bundle is giving you. It is a $51 perk, I guess. So, by percentage, that seems not terrible, but it's also not that good. Like that,
Yeah.
This is not that enticing of a bundle.
Yeah, it needs to be, if it's a subscription, it needs to be like 6 months or something, If it was like one game for the price, like sure, because again, that's a game you, in theory, keep forever. So yeah, kind of bummed out. Although again, the Series S is still like such a crazy deal. Um, like I'm just glad it continues to exist. Honestly, uh, like there's nothing else close to this price range that is like a functioning normal gaming experience. You can get a Switch for 300, but it's not going to play most of the same games.
Yeah, that's a very different
Yeah.
thing. So I will
And
agree with
Lord,
you.
and $299 will get you maybe a graphics card for your PC,
Good luck.
or like half of a graphics card.
It'll probably get you one of those resold that's been used to the point
Yeah.
of melting
You can
itself.
get your
Crypto mining
yeah. You can
cards.
get your used Bitcoin miner card. Yeah.
So I will agree with you on the price point. 300 is actually a really good price for modern consoles. But I'm still going to levy my same complaint that I've had literally since the announcement of the Series S and the Series X. Screw you, Microsoft, for having made a basically like the low end and high end boxes, because you've created this situation where developers are trying to target both, or worse, they're not trying to target both. There have been a number of games that have come out where the experience is notoriously bad on the Series S, whereas it plays decently on the Series X, which, let's be honest, the mere fact that you have to have a discussion about it only plays decently on a Series X is also a sign that maybe those developers weren't exactly optimizing properly. But yeah, the fact that like people complain about fragmentation on Android, and to a lesser degree they've complained about it for years on iPhones. Microsoft intentionally created fragmentation within its own generation of consoles, and I think that was a big mistake.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
what they
know.
should have done is separate the Series S and X not by performance. The performance should have been equal. They needed to separate it just down on storage space, maybe extra features, but they needed to have the same CPU and GPU, or close enough that the Series S would have only just been like a, can you shave down draw distances, or can you make minor compromises to make it fit. They have to make pretty big compromises to make some stuff work on a Series S.
Yeah, I'm definitely like of two minds there, because like I do get that supposedly I think it's like the it has a lot less graphics memory. I think that's like the main thing devs complain about.
Yeah.
So like I get that, like it's just harder, but also the other part of me does appreciate that Microsoft is like throwing its weight around to be like, no, if you want like Xbox market share, you need to make your game work on our $300 box. And like, again, like really, that's the only option for like mainstream sort of games right now, I think under like $500, really, because you're sure as hell not building a PC that's going to be anywhere close to that, even as lower powered as the Series S is. And I think the PS5, the PS5 digital edition, that according to the blog post where Sony was announcing the new ones, it starts at 450, and then the Series X is 500. So, or it also goes on sale for 450 a lot, but yeah. So like I do I know developers don't like it, but I do appreciate that it's a thing. Yeah, probably could have like bumped it up a little bit more. Maybe they'll think more about that on the next gen. I'm not sure, but
Okay, so oh my god. Okay, the differences are a little bit more extreme than I thought they were. Also, in one way, not. Okay, they have identical CPUs. They're both 8 core, clocked at 3.8 gigahertz. and they're custom Zen 2 CPUs. That's congrats. They have identical CPUs, but the GPU, holy crap, is way different. Yes, there's a memory difference. The Series S has 10 gigabits of GDDR6 RAM. The X has 16 gigabits, or I say gigabits, I mean gigabytes. So from 10 to 16, that doesn't seem like a terrible difference. That's good. But then the GPU itself, the Series S can push 4 teraflops with 20 CUs. I'm not sure.
I think it's CUDA cores.
Yeah, that's probably it. The Series X, remember the S was 4 and 20. The Series X brings that up to 12 and 52.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, come on.
Compute units.
3 times as much power on the teraflop count, and on the CUDA units, that's let's call it 2.5 times more. Yeah, that is ridiculous difference.
Carson said Series X can do 4K 120 FPS on certain games. The table is wrong. Yeah, the graphics quality does depend more on the game than the hard, like, it's not specifically like you buy a Series S is like targeting 1080p, and the Series X kind of targets 4K, but games go above and below that quite often.
Okay, I think Carson saying the table's wrong is probably in reference to this bottom row, which the row is named performance target. So, I assume that the idea being that certain things can actually exceed this, or maybe this table's older, maybe it's since changed, but yeah. Either way, as long as those actual specs are the same, I'm gonna count that as kind of the main focus. But yeah, to me, man, this is enough of a difference. I think Microsoft screwed up. That's all. I think Microsoft screwed up here. They did a bad thing to developers, and that bad thing does have an impact on players.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm sure they had a price point in mind, and again, this came out, middle of or like early COVID when manufacturing sucks. So again, it's a miracle that this came out at all in my mind, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, I wish that bundle was better, because it seems like they could have had a hit, but they were like, 3 months, that's fine. Anyway. Moving on to other thing that is extremely silly.
Apple Pencil.
And then I will leave because I'm very hungry. Apple Pencil. There was pencil discourse, Cody. There was a lot of it. My Mastodon had things to say, but so there was rumors that Apple was gonna announce like something iPad related this week, and I guess this was it. They have a new pencil.
It is related to an iPad.
Indeed. So this is Apple Pencil parentheses USB-C in parentheses. It is a Apple Pencil that charges via USB-C. When you take the top part, like, sort of slides. It doesn't come off. It like slides open, and there's a USB-C port. So notably, you need a USB-C cable to charge this, whereas the first gen pencil has a lightning port just like on the top, and you just stick that right into the iPad, which looks extremely silly,
and was
but
also
it doesn't
bad in many ways. Like, there are so many stories of people accidentally hitting the pencil and breaking stuff. So maybe not much of a loss there. And then the other pencil, it just charges wirelessly with magnets and stuff. So and this pencil also costs, and again, it does all the usual Apple Pencil stuff. It does very low latency writing. It can when you tilt it, it'll change how the
brushworks in apps that do that. It is magnetic, but it doesn't charge magnetically. It charges with that USB-C. So you can stick it to the side of your iPad and it'll stay there, but you still have to plug it in occasionally. Um, and also, this is $79, which is cheaper than all of the other Apple Pencils Apple sells. And if you're in education, Apple will sell it to you for $69. That's very nice. So the problem with this is that this Apple Pencil product line is absolutely bonkers now. I feel so bad for every underpaid Best Buy employee who will have to explain this to people in stores. I feel bad for the Apple Store employees who are probably paid a little bit better but still shouldn't deal with this. Uh, like I do have in my list to write like a here's how this makes sense article, because I think that is like actual service journalism at this point to explain this. So yeah, okay, yeah,
It's
David,
weird. I don't think it
I'm
is
getting
that
to
bad, but go on.
Yeah. So this product kind of fills two roles, and it does one of those very poorly and the other one kind of okay. So the problem now is Apple sells 3 Apple Pencils. And number one, they're all called Apple Pencil.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like, this is more complicated than it needs to be, because you're walking to an Apple store, you're like, I need an Apple Pencil. You're like, okay, which one? They all look almost the same, and they have probably the same boxes. You have to be really sure you buy the one. So they have one pencil that's the first gen with the lightning port, that's mostly made for the iPads with lightning. But also when Apple made the 10th gen iPad, I think that was this year, that has a USB-C port. And if you remember when that came out, they made a little adapter. So you can plug your lightning Apple Pencil first gen into your USB-C iPad. So that was crazy. So that first gen is mostly for lightning iPads. The second gen pencil is made for the iPads that have the magnetic connection and the wireless charging on the side. There's no port or anything on the second gen. It's just like a little. I have it. It's a little pencil. You stick it to the iPad. It charges and syncs. And the second gen pencil, it's besides like the charging differences, it actually does more. It has. Let me look at this chart that Apple had to make. It made a pencil chart. The second gen supports hovering on the iPad Pro, so like you can see like kind of where your brush will land on supported iPads. It has a double tap to change tools, like you can tap the pencil, and Apple lets you engrave it if you want. So all those are new on the second gen, in addition to the difference with charging. So in comes this USB-C one, which fills kind of two roles, as far as I can tell. The main role it's supposed to fill is budget Apple Pencil. So it does not have pressure sensitivity, which was on the first and second gen pencils. It doesn't do wireless charging, and it will do the magnets, but not the charging. You got to plug it in. It will do the hovering. It will not do double tap, and Apple will not engrave it. So in the context of like a cheaper Apple Pencil that's missing like the things some people just don't care about, probably mostly this is the thing to sell at schools or like in bulk or whatever. Sure, I get that. That makes sense. But wherein the problem lies in kind of what seems to be the other market for this, which is a eventual replacement for the Gen 1. Because Apple has right now Apple sells 2 iPads to my knowledge that are supposed to work with the first gen pencil. None of these are intercompatible for the most part. So the first they're still selling the 9th gen iPad that has lightning, which is very sad. And they just introduced 10th gen iPad that uses the first gen pencil, but it needs an adapter because the new iPad is USB-C. So I would assume that once that 9th gen iPad is dead, they're going to knock the first gen Apple Pencil out of stores, which would just leave the USB-C one as the one you buy for the base iPad, but then you're losing pressure sensitivity. So to make this more succinct, because I know this doesn't make sense at all. if I'm going to Best Buy and I'm buying a 10th gen iPad, I'm buying just the normal iPad Apple sells right now. I have two options. I can buy first gen Pencil that will do a little bit more, but I need a stupid adapter to use to charge it because it's Lightning and my iPad is USB-C. Or I can get USB-C Apple Pencil, which doesn't need a stupid adapter, but I don't get pressure sensitivity. So it's like, what are you guys doing here? Like, this is just very weird. And again, like just zooming out, the fact that Apple needs a table to explain what their 3 pencils does is a problem. This is also, again, a problem of Apple's own making, because number one, they kept selling iPads with Lightning ports for fucking forever. So you still need something that kind of works with that. And then number two, they're calling all of these Apple Pencil, even though they're pretty different.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, and then Carson brought up like even the iPad, like the naming for the iPads doesn't really make sense either. iPads are very confusing now.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be this confusing. And like Samsung sidesteps this problem entirely. They just put the pencil in the box when you buy the tablet. Microsoft, I believe,
same deal mostly.
No. They don't include the stylus with their stuff. Yep, but you have to buy it separately.
It
but
depends on which product.
I think they only have one stylus. So still less confusing there. Yeah, I think they have one, and then I think they have like a bigger one that's like better grip or whatever. But it's like function the same anyway.
Being on the same technology, I think, is actually the bigger issue here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it's just like Apple, like this whole thing is so silly. And this is like, again, something that should be really basic, which is an accessory for your iPad is now something that I will probably write a like 1,500 word article out of at some point, because like this is wild.
Okay, so I agree. This is really stupid. It's not, frankly, that's not a hard position to get to. This is incredibly stupid. The mere fact that they have 3 pencils, each one has to exist kind of for different reasons, is certainly a problem. You're not going to get me to say otherwise. I have a bit of a theory on this, and I think today's announcement kind of puts in motion something that certainly a lot of people have been saying. Like, I can't say it's just me. I think what we're about to see is we're sort of, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the USB-C Apple Pencil works with the same iPads that the first generation Apple Pencil worked with, correct? Because the second generation works with its own set, because they are using a different protocol.
Right. Apple says in their press release, the new Apple Pencil is compatible with all iPad models with a USB-C port. So that is, so not like the Lightning iPad they still sell, but yes, on the current 10th gen normal iPad, plus all of the other iPads with USB-C that also support 2nd gen.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, is like there's like overlap here in your compatibility.
Okay. No, that actually gets closer to what my theory was, not further. So this is actually really makes my point. What I think we're seeing is this is basically step 1 to basically getting to the place they were supposed to be, or should have been for all this time, which is selling different Apple Pencils. Each one could work with any iPad. Again, this is first step. We're not there yet, but I think the goal is going to be that they're going to eventually retire any iPad that would have required either the first gen or the second gen. They'll move to this place where you can just simply buy whichever version of the Apple Pencil you actually like. It can be this one that lacks pressure sensitivity and maybe lacks a few other features, or I think they'll come out with another Apple Pencil, like basically an Apple Pencil Pro. God, I hate using that word, but
Right.
they can come out with an Apple Pencil Pro in 6, 9, 12 months, whatever. Probably whenever they announce a big major iPad update. That one will also probably have USB-C. I'm assuming it will also have magnetic charging. And it will have pressure sensitivity and probably the double tap to change tool feature and whatever other features would be there. So basically it would be all of the pro features that this cheaper one will not have. And I assume that also might even explain why this one dropped in price a little bit, because this Pro Pencil would probably be like $130,
Yeah.
maybe $150, whatever.
The second gen right now is 130, I believe.
Yeah. So Apple loves 130 as a price point for whatever reason. That is like a magic number to them. I suppose it's because they're just dropping a 1 in front of what they charge for all their dongles. No matter how cheap a dongle should be, it's always $30 at Apple. Anyway, yeah, this to me only makes sense if the next step is to basically retire the first gen Apple Pencil. Obviously, like, you might need to keep it around as a thing you can buy. Like, they're not going to push it to anyone, but if you happen to come in, like, you own an older iPad and you're like, I just need to get something that works with this, they still want to keep the first gen Apple Pencil around. And the same might arguably be true for second gen Apple Pencil. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're still selling the Lightning iPad, and they're still selling the current 10th gen iPad that both only do first gen iterations. So they're gonna, those iPads will be floating around in the world for a couple more years.
Yeah. So logically, they cannot get rid of the first gen Apple Pencil today. It's years out. They're not going to get rid of the second gen Apple Pencil today because it has features that the new one does not have. So they have to keep both of them around, but they wouldn't necessarily recommend those to anyone who doesn't specifically need those. So the new one that just came out makes sense as a, again, like I said, first step towards one product line that you don't need a big complicated chart to understand. That said, the thing they screwed up is not just saying, hey, we're going to do this. We're totally going to fix this thing. It's just, we're only announcing this one today. There will be a Pro coming in a year or whatever. If they had said that, I think everyone would have come away from this going, oh yeah, fine. That's cool. Instead, Apple does its typical, we're not going to tell you anymore. We're just going to announce this new thing is going to exist, and everyone is rightfully calling them out saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? So I think this does have a solution. It's just we're getting the dumbest version of it presented to us in this form. Also, there are a ton of people I'm sure would just, if Apple would have just announced a Pro Pencil today, a bunch of people would just buy that instead of getting this USB-C or the low quality, low cost version.
Yeah, like this is, I saw some people floating around the idea like this is like a Pencil SE or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, it's very silly. And again, this is just Apple's hubris coming back to bite them, where they're selling iPads that support different generations of a pencil, and the second gen can't use the first, as far as I know, and vice versa. And some of them have the magnetic charging and some of them don't. It's very all over the place. And again, it's kind of crazy we got in this situation where the iPad might be the most complicated product line Apple sells. Like, I feel like Macs are probably simpler than this. Definitely the iPhones, they just don't change, so that's easy to explain. They're all
Yeah.
the same. Um, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I I don't dispute for a second. This is really a mess. The other thing, I know it's not really the point here, but I feel it needs to be brought up. But MacBook Pros with Apple Pencil support win.
Yeah. Or just, can I get my 5G MacBook yet? That's what I'm. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean it's been a talking point for ages. Why do the MacBook Pros not support the Apple Pencil? Um,
Mhm.
and you could argue about whether or not you want that to be a thing for the touchpad or if you want it to be on screen. I personally think on screen would actually be a bad idea, though I
Okay.
understand why everyone wants that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the Apple Pen maybe this is the first step towards that. Maybe once they announce the Pro model, um, or maybe before that, but on the way to announcing the Pro model, maybe they'll announce the first MacBooks that have Apple Pencil support. Um, I know I certainly would like to see that for a number of reasons, mostly because I don't want to try to carry with me um, I don't want to carry with me drawing tablets in the rare instances that I actually would use those on the road, which I've done twice.
Like David saying, I will take macOS on the iPad. No, that's not one of the options. Apple
They
refuses.
they've talked about, or people have talked about that for so many years. I I will say this: I think someday we will get something sort of like that, but it's going to be one of those things where like you carry around your iPad and then plug it into a display.
Yeah, I mean, like we're getting to that point where, I mean, they're selling iPads with the same chip they are selling Macs with. So
Yeah,
yeah, it kind of seems a little bit weird that we're not at that point where I can't like plug my iPad into a display and it's just like Mac OS. But I know there's like a billion reasons why they don't want to do that. They're just being weird.
oh, I don't think it's a billion reasons. I think it's one. They want you to buy both. They want you to have an iPad and they want you to have a MacBook. And
Yeah.
if you can plug a MacBook into something else, or sorry, plug an iPad into something else, and suddenly it works like a MacBook, they can't make that same money. I feel reasonably confident that's exactly the reason.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a pencil. Very silly. I think I will go now because I'm very hungry. I need food.
All right, well, I understand that, you slacker. So I won't make you do any long spiel. Just going to give you the opportunity to pitch whatever it is you feel like pitching. I know
Uh,
it isn't this the
go
worst
to
part.
go to the space bar. That's all. I wrote an article about Windows 11. That's, I think, interesting. Oh, thank you, David. He loves the newsletter. Um, I don't actually have anything drafted for it right now. I have my pile of ideas. I'll get to some time. Past few weeks have been very intense. I've been all over the place, but yeah. And then also there was an episode of Tech Tales that went live. I don't know when. I think it was a week ago.
The first of it.
9 days ago. I'll put that in the. You just go to the Tech Tales website or wherever it is about the Intellivision Amico console, which is actually doing very well on YouTube. Apparently, people are still searching for that, and so YouTube is recommending it to people. And I got one hater, so that's cool. Other people who were like really into this said I did a pretty good job covering everything, so I feel good.
And yeah, and maybe if Corbin gets enough listens on Tech Tales, we'll start doing more of those.
Yeah,
He'll be
again, like,
re-incentivized to actually do them.
yeah, it's I switched to doing all the editing in like Logic Pro because it's a million times easier for stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna crank out so many more Tech Tales episodes with this, and then just the rest of life happens. It's like, shit, I don't have time to do this right now. So that was like over an hour of podcast that took like a lot of editing still. So I need to figure out better options there. But yeah, eventually.
I am glad
Output
though
slowing.
that well, I still think you should have tried um other software first, but I am glad that you found something that works a lot faster for you than um oh damn it, I had the name in my head. Audio
Logic. Yeah.
Huh? Well, yeah,
You're saying Logic.
you found using
Yeah.
Logic, but whatever. I'm blanking on the name of the thing you were using before, but yeah, I'm glad you found something.
It's
faster than that.
Audacity.
Audacity, that's it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, anything to shave time on editing is
It's so
life-changing.
it's so good. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but I know just enough to get that. And also there's like a couple little weird spots I need to iron out, but yeah, good stuff. The episodes definitely sound better. Carson said Tech Tales and Cody's Mindspace collab. That's just every episode I get Cody. Those are the collabs. There's already like 30 of them.
Have I done? No, I haven't done that many. Have I?
Probably. How many episodes is there? 52 episodes. Yeah, you're probably in 30. I'm gonna make the assumption.
Okay, yeah, that actually sounds pretty credible. Well,
So yep.
yeah. So cool. Well, hope you have a good rest of your week. I'm gonna stay on with a couple more quick topics. They're both gonna be pretty quick, so this is near end of show anyway. But hey, enjoy the meal, and I will catch you next week, I imagine.
You will not. I will not be able to be at my computer.
Okay. Well,
I was gonna mention that later, but I'm just gonna shut you down right now.
All right. Well, then I will plan for the pre-Halloween episode. That, of course, Halloween has to happen on a Tuesday. So yeah, the pre-Halloween episode will just be me.
Yep.
All right. Well, cool. So I will catch you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Farewell.
All right. Yeah, putting in the 2 weeks notice. Let's see. So, all right, and moving around Windows a little bit and switching there. Okay. So there was one other topic. Carson brought it up in chat earlier. And now Carson's taking off, of course. But Carson brought this up, so I will quickly address this one. But Carson, if you are taking off, have, I assume, good sleep, because it's got to be late as hell there. And I hope your travels are going well. Can't call it vacation if you're still working, but hope your travels are going well. 2 a.m. Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, I'm enough of a night owl that 2 a.m. is still early for me, but it is what it is. Anyway, so 9 to 5 Mac posted this. It is based on an Apple patent, which is, look, I think everyone in tech has kind of reached the point where we just hear the word patent, like patent filing, or the subject of covering something patent related comes up, and we all automatically roll our eyes and say, none of this stuff ever comes true. Ignore it. The thing is, a lot of patents do end up coming true. Maybe not in the way that they're described in the patent, but it's amazing how often they do end up kind of just emerging as something with some credibility. This in particular, I don't think it will. Because apparently the patent kind of hints at cars without windows. I don't think that's going to be a thing. In fact, this specific patent, I think, is largely covering two different scenarios, however, that I do think are practical and could become true. And the writer does mention something that's kind of a third in between space, which I also see as possibility, but I think it's kind of maybe missing some points. So first off, the patent produces the notion of a Vision Pro or Vision Pro like device being used inside of an Apple car. The Apple car, of course, does not yet exist either, but presumably any self-driving car. And it basically details this concept of being able to, in a car without windows, you'd be able to still use the Vision Pro to look around and see your surroundings. Now, presumably this is in a self-driving car as opposed to one that you would actually drive. So I kind of get that. It would presumably take away your complications that would arise from obviously trying to drive a car with any sort of vision system that could obviously cut out at some point. That's not ideal. You definitely don't want to be driving around and suddenly go, oh, hey, my Vision Pro ran out of battery, or the cable got snagged and tugged out and now I have no power. We're not in that kind of a scenario. We're talking full self-driving vehicles. To me, I'm already going to call sort of BS. I don't think we're going to end up with regular cars on the road that don't have windows. And even the writer of this article seems to have shared the same opinion. But his notion, and I would also agree with this, is that if you did have something like this, you'd have like probably electrochromic glass. I can never say that right the first time. Electrochromic glass. You would have something like that can like shade the windows or effectively black them out so that you can so that you could have a vehicle that you could, let's say, sleep in while driving in the middle of the day or something like that. These kinds of ideas I'm good with. What I sooner picture is, if anyone's seen the show Upload, the cars that they used in that, I should have dug around for something. Upload TV show cars. We have maybe some images from Google search that should it's not the best example, but no, there really aren't any others. So for the show, he was basically driving around in something like this, and if I remember, I think it does black out the screen if you ask it to. Could be wrong on that, but it was an okay show. It was on Amazon for a bit. I don't think it ever came back. I don't remember, but it was an okay show. Anyway, yeah, I honestly see something like that because I think most people want to still be able to see out into the world, and they'll just feel more comfortable not doing it with a headset on, and there aren't too many practical arguments for why you should not give that to people. At this stage, the technology to put glass in cars and to make a good chunk of the car structure glass, we have that technology to do pretty well. We have been doing it very well. I could see an argument to be made for maybe making a car out of more of a, let's say, plasticky body and covering the whole thing so there is no glass to break. But I'm not sure people want that either. Just a hunch. Diablo, they don't want you to see Apple Maps lead the car into the ocean. Harsh, man. Accurate, but harsh. It's painfully accurate, actually. Anyway, So my thinking on this is that a reason for having this sort of thing is less about giving your occupants a view of the outside and more that you would want to give your occupants, or sorry, not occupants, but if you've got a windowless, driverless car, I would sooner think the purpose for that is to give remote viewing to people. So if someone needs to operate a car from like a call center somewhere, if you can give them a good enough view, then they can use the Vision Pro to look around and navigate the car safely through complicated areas, or they can assess emergency situations, or whatever. Any number of things. They can operate around a lot of other vehicles. Name your circumstance. Any of them work. But the ability to use a Vision Pro to see around a driverless car sounds like something that's more suited for remote management as opposed to occupant within the car. Now, other parts of this patent do also detail things like using, for occupants inside of the car, being able to display the road as they're as they're riding in the car, as a way of combating like motion sickness and things like that. What I could see here, it has less to do with a windowless car and more to do with someone is riding in the car. Maybe they do black out the windows, maybe not, whatever, but they still have troubles with motion sickness, so they're using the vision system as a way to, again, treat the motion sickness for people who suffer from it. That, to me, is the other part of this. So this patent produces the idea that, or it details an idea where people are going to ride around in just opaque boxes. I don't think that's accurate at all. I don't think that's even what Apple's engineers intended with this. I think they're going for more traditional cars that have a way of letting you use your Vision Pro without getting motion sickness. And they're also describing the start of what effectively could be remote management windowless vehicles. So yes, it is a single patent, but I think it's really describing two different things. That being said, I just can't wait for the day that somebody gets pulled over, because driverless cars are still going to get pulled over. I can't wait for the day when someone pulls over a Apple car, knocks on the window, and some dude not hops out, but some guy rolls down the window and they have to pull their Vision Pro off their head and say, "Officer, why you interrupting me? Like, what's up? I'm just chilling inside my car. I didn't do anything wrong." I mean, that thing that The Verge just did about the new glass holes using Meta Quest 3s. I'm sorry, but look, this will be the new glass hole when it happens. Vision Pro people who are driving around in their driverless cars, or riding around in driverless cars, when they get pulled over, they're going to be like, "Why are you bothering me?" I promise this will be the new glass hole. Let's see, Diablo. Imagine you sending your child to school and you can visually see the car in the vision. Honestly, I don't doubt that'll happen eventually. Hopefully, actually, I never really thought about that, but that is actually kind of great. Okay, so first off, one interesting thing about that is you're saying see the car. I'm gonna say see inside of the car, because if you send your child to school, what if they don't get out of the car? You would want to actually be able to see inside of the vehicle and watch them hop out. And then obviously from a view from that vehicle, you want it to also be able to see where they go when they hop out. Which sounds a little Orwellian, but also kind of like a great idea. Um, also, Idiocracy on Max. Yep, a little bit. Um, anyway, so yeah, I can see that. Also, I had never thought about this before, but I love it. Driverless cars dropping off kids at school. Oh my god. I don't have kids, but oh my god. That would make life so much easier for parents. Just, put your kid in the car, be like, "All right, hey, car, take them to school." And you just sit back and you can start your Chardonnay morning early while the kid rides and listens to whatever music they're going to listen to. Maybe they sit with their friends and they talk, and you don't have to listen to a word of it. That sounds so much better. Oh, I would not make a good parent. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, that's all I really had to say on this. Obviously the bit about patents are always kind of iffy. But yeah, they would love it if it's perfected. I mean, really, if a kid can sit and watch TV on their way to school, or again, like maybe the car can go and pick up their friends and they can all ride together. Like this sounds like something I think the kids would love. It's something the parents would love. It's like everybody is happier with this solution. Self-driving cars cannot happen soon enough. Except they're going to keep running over homeless people. Man, this is going to become like such a rich neighborhood problem as driverless cars. Like every teacher is going to be standing out there, like in front of the school, watching as car after car pulls up. There will be no one in any of the cars. They won't have any idea what the parents look like for any of these kids. But yeah, the car just pulls up, kids crawl out of them, wander inside, and then the car just takes off. Like so many driverless cars are going to be empty, just driving away from schools. Oh, that's going to be that is both utopia and hell in one visible situation. I love it. Yeah, bus pickups. I know, and buses aren't going to go away. But that's that's the public school kids. They'll just have driverless buses. Which, to be fair, actually, aside from the fact that every once in a while you need bus drivers to step in on situations, it's not that bad of an idea. Anyway, so speaking of AI, here's I think the last topic, unless anyone has anything else they want to throw out as a suggestion. There was one other announcement this week. It was I thought it was yesterday, but maybe I guess it was 2 days ago. Apparently OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, has either already or is about to start releasing so-called AI agents. These are going to be pieces of software built on some of the same technology as ChatGPT that will basically be enabled to do things. So ChatGPT historically hasn't really actually been allowed to do anything. It could tell you what code to write, but it didn't itself have the ability to compile code. It could tell you what to say in an email, or you could have it write an email for you, but it itself did not have connections to an email server or the ability to reach out to some service to actually send an email. You could have it do all kinds of stuff, but it didn't. Like, that was the whole thing. That was kind of what made it safe-ish and okay-ish. People were a little less creeped out by the idea. Well, OpenAI has thrown away the rulebook and said, nah, let's start breaking the world. It's okay. We don't care. So they are apparently working on so-called online agents that will be able to do things actually on behalf of people. Didn't we want Google Assistant to do this? Yes, no, and kind of maybe sort of. And yeah, I was gonna say we've had things in the past, but most of them were very linear automations. When I say that, that's kind of two terms to both qualify what is different here. When I say linear, I mean they were very specifically tasks that only had like a limited set of outcomes and a limited set of functions. If you wanted like Google Assistant to book a restaurant reservation, which was very much a thing that they showed off during a Google I/O keynote. Though this was a thing that would make a call to a restaurant. I'm sure everyone remembers this, but I'll just re-detail it. It was a thing where you could basically say, hey, I want a restaurant, or I want a reservation at this time at this restaurant. And Google Assistant would call up that restaurant. A automated voice would speak with somebody and basically say, hey, we have a client, or we have somebody who'd like to set up a reservation. Do you have anything at this time? And it would theoretically try to negotiate something, or presumably in response to maybe being told no, it might report back, or it would try to come up with something that's close enough to working. And obviously, like from what I understand, I don't know that it ever actually launched. I could be wrong, but I swear I heard that it was more of a tech demo than something that ever actually became a feature. But I admit I've never tried it, and I never really thought to try it. Call screen is okay, but or the current incarnation of it is okay. What they are promising that would presumably be like a full-scale sort of almost like having a secretary answering calls for you, that sounds even better. But we'll see. It's again, the thing is though, these are tasks that are for the most part linear in function. They only are there to serve an exact purpose. And the other thing I said is they're automations. By being an automation, generally speaking, it means they're scripted. So Google Assistant, let's say calling to make a restaurant reservation, it was a scripted process. Does it have a lot of different paths it can take? Yes. That was the thing about it though. It was something that had been pre-programmed to do a certain task, and that task had a lot of different routes that it could take, but it didn't really have, how to say this, it didn't really have the ability to go full improv. It could improv a little bit. It could get a little bit clever and creative, but it couldn't just outright say, I'm just making up a random example here, but it couldn't call up a restaurant and have a restaurant employee say, look, we're booked up through the next 8 weeks. We can't really do anything for you. The Google Assistant was never going to call up or then respond to this by saying something like, oh, I get you. So is this like a bribery situation? Can I slip you 50? Would that be okay? Can we get a reservation then? Or, oh, well, how about your sister restaurant? I checked and you have another restaurant that's like 6 blocks away. Do you think you can arrange something there? Or like, it can't go wildly off script. And that's kind of a thing that obviously, Google Assistant was never intended to go super, super off script. I get the impression that these AI agents, part of the logic, as long as it still fits within their capabilities, I think they're capable of going off script. Um, so uh, the example that for whatever reason this New York Times article went with is agents that are able to play Minecraft a certain way. Um, so they're showing these things where you can tell it to go mine amethyst, or you can have it build a nether portal, which, all right, these are some obnoxious, slow, tedious processes, or at least some of them are. And I get why people would absolutely not want to sit there and do all this stuff. That's fine. Um, but what if I don't know if this is something that they can do, but like, to what extent do you say I'm trying to think of how this would go. But to what extent do you turn around and say, "Oh, we need you to build such and such thing. Let's say build a nether portal or mine some amethyst." If well, let's go with mine amethyst. If you don't know where the amethyst is, like, it's one thing to just say mine amethyst, but if you don't know where it's at, maybe the agent then proceeds to do a bunch of steps to go hunting for amethyst. Maybe it realizes, oh, you don't have an axe that's capable, or a pick that's capable of doing this. So let's first get you, I don't know what you need for mining amethyst. I'm assuming an obsidian pick. Who knows? Actually, I assume various people in this chat might know, but my Minecraft knowledge is limited. But yeah, whatever the scenario is, maybe you have to, or maybe the agent can figure out the extra steps that it has to do in order to accomplish this. And that's something Google Assistant was never going to do. David, they need one for Fall Guys daily tasks. Yes. Yes. So much yes. Because, man, the last thing I want to do is hop on and I don't like playing games compulsively. Or, sorry, not compulsively, but though I don't like that either. But I don't like compulsory play. That's what it is. Very similar word. I don't like compulsory play. Where you are obligated into doing something so that you can get whatever rewards. It's just not a fun way to play. So yeah, anyway, these agents that they're describing, I read through a different article on this. I don't remember how to find it, but it basically detailed that they're going to start giving agents the ability to send emails, communicate with each other. So you could have one agent that's tasked with, the example I read was setting up a party for coworkers. Let's see, did this mention that same example? No, it doesn't. So the example that I read was basically you ask an agent to set up a party for coworkers, like an after work event sort of thing, but an actual party, not just going out to a bar with a few coworkers. This is like setting up an event. And what that agent would then do is reach out to one agent that would send emails and try to coordinate with people on, like, maybe what the best day for this would be, something like that. Then a second agent would connect with the calendar and start adding it to people's calendars, sending out invites, things like that. Another agent would be tasked with calling up or ordering some sort of snacks, refreshments, meals, anything like that. So, I mean, we're now talking about different agents, each one is only like connected for one task. Obviously, they could be connected for lots of tasks, and they they would have a lot of autonomy to do things, and how far they go with that could possibly have far-reaching effects. And then there was, in this example, for whatever reason, it also gave a fourth agent that was going to generate a playlist with YouTube music. I wish I was kidding about that. I thought that was hilarious. And I was very confused why it decided that, why the writer of that article decided YouTube music was the thing to generate the playlist on, when OpenAI is a company heavily funded by Microsoft. And yeah, just I don't know. Something told me that they should be maybe recommending a different service or something. Anyway, so part of me looks at this and thinks it was inevitable. Like, we were obviously going to reach this point, and targeted advertising. I get it, and at the same time, they don't know that. They just don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I love the idea of this, but at the same time, I also kind of dread it, because how far is this gonna go, and in what weird ways? How often are people going to be like, oh, you know, I just wanted the just using that example from earlier, I just wanted to set up a small little get together for like 5 or 10 people from the office, and one of the agents decided to order like a 10-course meal from a local chef, and instead of spending like $100 or so, it decided to spend like 5,000 or something. You know, what situations are these agents possibly going to get people into that they do not anticipate? Will an agent ever call on a agent to do the wrong thing? Not just wrong within its purpose, but I mean literally calling on the wrong types of agents. So, for example, what would be a good one? Oh man, I'm picturing actually some really wild things, and it occurs to me, and I'm not even kidding, I could get onto lists by describing the theory that I just had. And I'm talking watch lists. Let's just say it involves setting up a like your not pottery, but like growing plants, stuff like that, and the sort of product that you might order to go with that, if you have a large club dedicated to you know, flowers and things like that. What sort of product is very dangerous, ordered in large quantities, that you might kind of order for that? And imagine an AI chatbot going wrong on those. All of a sudden, you'd have the FBI watching you, is all I'm saying. Because you might look like a very different kind of club. Oh yeah, Diablo. Imagine the AI thinks you're, thinks you like this coworker and tries to book you the same room. Oh my god, that's actually hilarious. Or likewise, maybe it tries to, organize people in a hotel. Oh wow, actually, I can totally see this scenario. You ask the AI to organize people in a hotel, and it instinctively either A, tries to match married people together and put them in the same room, which becomes problematic if you have like 2 people with the last name Miller, but they're not married. Or possibly 2 married people getting a divorce. Or it could go the other way and try to match by gender or something like that, like just women share rooms and men share rooms kind of a thing. And then so it splits up maybe married and dating couples. AI chatbots are not always good at these things. They make a lot of assumptions, and sometimes very horribly. Um, so yeah, I'm picturing a lot of really wild stuff like this happening, and it's not like these things can't happen today now. We built systems that are more linear, that are less creative, and they make these same mistakes. It's not like this is new stuff. It's just with AI chatbots, in a lot of instances, people assume things are going to work and don't necessarily check over the results. And or all too often, and I see it especially happening with this, you could end up with AI chatbots that just they do a thing, don't show their work, and there's just nothing you can really do to fix it or change it, or you have to go through a lot of extra work to fix it or change it, because the AI chatbots kind of just they're not directly accountable to anybody in most instances, and they don't really report what they've done so much as just saying, oh yeah, we did this for you, or we did this for you and let's summarize what we did, without telling you all the details. These are I think going to become problems. And some of it can be solved. You can mitigate some of this through just being more intelligent and maybe training the AI chatbot to be a little more direct in its communications. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the thing that's going to go smoothly. Let's see. Is there any... Oh, and yeah, just going back to... I kind of went down this road and gotten a little sidetracked, but I really would be concerned about what some AI chatbots will do when they are tasked with one thing and they misunderstand the task. You never know if they're going to like call out to agents that are just completely wrong for a certain purpose or task, or possibly they will try to handle something in an overly creative way. There could be a lot of really weird outcomes here, and if anything involves a cost, I can imagine these things kind of tending to spend money where you really don't want them to. Though the counter to that, to be fair, is every once in a while they might also come up with much cheaper solutions that accomplish the same task with a much lower cost. It could happen. And not just by like finding a cheaper thing that that accomplishes the same task, but by maybe working around it in a whole different way. I don't have any immediate ideas off the top of my head, but I could see like instead of ordering food from some expensive grocery store or something that just happens to be the only option normally, maybe a chatbot would be clever enough to reach out to like local farmers and say, oh, we recognize you've got all the things we need, can you just happen to deliver this stuff, and it'll cost maybe a tenth the price or something. I don't know, I'm just spitballing, but you never know. Chatbots might become very good at things like this. But anyway, I think that's probably about as wild as I can take that. So let's see. What's going on this weekend? Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. So this weekend we should be doing some Fall Guys as usual. Maybe a little bit of Overwatch will sneak into the list. I wanted to do some photo edit streams pretty soon, but I won't have time tomorrow, and I probably won't have time Friday. I know it's the typical, like, it's always hard to schedule this stuff. But coming up, I expect early next week will very likely be one or two, possibly two photo edit streams, because there's actually quite a stack of photos just waiting to be done. Let's see. I also... Oh no, that's about it. Actually, gaming photo edit streams and obviously RambleCast next weekend, which I evidently will be doing alone. It's good to at least know that in advance, because I half the time when Corbin tells me this stuff, it's usually like the day of, usually just like an hour or two in advance. So yeah, that is a thing I will be making plans on. But with that, thanks everyone for coming by. Thanks for hanging out and being part of the conversation. The chat has been, as usual, quite helpful and very, very fun to communicate with you guys. Let's see. As always, huge thanks to those who are supporters of the channel. Diablo, David, Carson, and Austin, plus Kirby has been helping out. So you are all very, very appreciated. Believe me, it is so much of a lifesaver. And for those who are maybe catching the stream later, or maybe you lurk, I don't know, you can check down below for links to Streamlabs, Cash App, and Patreon. It is a huge help if you so choose to contribute. It does keep this channel going. Also, hopefully in the not too distant future, I know I keep saying this, but hopefully I will have something up about the Pixel 8 Pro as a dedicated video, possibly two, which is actually kind of the plan I'm angling for. Though it's very time consuming, so I haven't gotten to very much progress on that yet. But yeah, with that, I think that is pretty much everything. So I hope you all have an excellent rest of the week. I will be seeing many, if not all of you, in Discord. And with that, good night, everybody.